What was the nature of your relationship with Tory Lanez? Because
we were not dating. We were really close. We were friends. We hung out like every day.
Hey guys, it's your girl, Crystalnicole. So you guys know that Tory Lanez trial has finally started versus Megan Thee Stallion, and today was the opening statements from both the prosecution and the defense's side. So that is what we will be going over in today's video, as some things did come out within those opening statements that we haven't heard before. So as you saw in the beginning of this video, we are going to start with Megan Thee Stallion actually admitting to prosecutors that she was indeed intimate with Tory Lanez, which is a complete contradiction from what she actually told Gayle King during an interview with her. So let's replay that clip.
Did you have an intimate relationship with him?
Like sexual?
Yeah. Did you, Megan, did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Yes, that's my question.
I didn't have a sexual relationship with Tory.
So why do you think he's putting out the story that the two of you had a relationship and that you're making the whole thing up?
I think that he is trying to deflect from the fact that he committed a crime.
So here's the thing. I don't know why Megan would deny this relationship with Tory when, from the interview with detectives, it's quite clear that she was the one who invited Tory to the party, and then she wanted to leave Tory there when she got upset about something. That she actually did leave and then came back for Tory in his own car. She was clearly upset with Tory this night, and her actions showed it. So there was clearly something else going on here than just a mere friendship, or she wouldn't have been this upset over him not wanting to leave, and she would have just went home. Now, Megan also admitted to the detective that Tory had admitted that him and Megan were intimate to Kelsey in the car, and this is what escalated the argument in the car. But Megan constantly omits these details when speaking to the public about this incident. She constantly denies that the fighting was about Tory or over Tory and Kylie flirting, or that there was even a cat fight, etc. So let's hear what was supposedly actually said by Tory to Kelsey in the car.
Is this Tory questions Kelsey? Hey Kelsey, why are you backing up Meg for me trying to, get it on with Kylie Jenner? Meg has been snaking men from you your whole life. I hooked up with you, Kelsey, and then Meg went behind your back and hooked up with me. And Kelsey, this is not the first time. You had been hooking up with Ben Simmons. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with Ben Simmons. You had been hooking up with the baby. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with the baby.
So this now explains the baby coming out to admit that he smashed Megan, and I'm assuming he knew that this was going to be brought up at trial by Tory, since the defense is saying that Tory is the one who brought the baby up to Kelsey. Now, the defense is saying that this is what this was all about. Megan and Kelsey were both upset over Tory flirting with Kylie in the pool, but Megan was more so upset. And like I stated, the interview with the detective by Megan proves that this was indeed the case, and Kylie did have to ask Megan to leave the party. So again, why Megan kept denying any part of this story is just beyond me. So after they left, the argument picked up when Tory told Kelsey about all the guys, including him, that Megan had smashed. So let's just pause here to talk about the apology text that the prosecution says Tory sent to Megan after the shooting. Now, Tory is apologizing for doing something wrong, and he says the exact same thing to Kelsey basically when he called and apologized to her. Now, could Tory exposing all of their intimate relationships, and especially all of Megan's, to Kelsey be what he was apologizing for? Because I'm going to be honest and say that I can see this being the case, as this was kind of a punk move trying to cause issues between two friends just because he was mad Megan was making him leave the party. But he was drunk when he said it, which also isn't an excuse, as a drunk mind usually speaks the truth in the heat of the moment. So he said what he said and he couldn't take it back. And it did cause an issue between the girls. So Tory never actually admits that he shot anybody, nor does he ever apologize for doing so. So they can make the assumption that he was apologizing for shooting Megan, but what they also don't have is Tory on probation, like Megan had claimed, nor have we heard of any call or text message where he was begging either female not to say anything about what happened. We just have Megan saying that he begged. But unfortunately, at this point, Megan's word is not reliable, and they will need proof of that if they're going to claim that this is the case. So the prosecutors are going to try to say that the argument escalated because Megan called Tory's music trash. Now, Megan did tell the detective that her and Tory did get to arguing in the car over whose career was better, but she never says that this is what escalated the argument. She outright says that what escalated the argument was Tory telling Kelsey that him and Megan had been intimate. So that brings us back to all of this arguing and fighting that Megan definitely kept trying to omit each and every time she came out to tell this story. If anything, Megan seemed to get very pissed off anytime anybody seemed to bring up what allegedly happened at Kylie's pool party or whatever the argument was in this car. So then we had this witness who pops up, and the witness claims that he was woken up by an argument. So he goes to the window, and that's when he sees Kelsey and Megan get into a fight. He saw Kelsey come from the back seat of the car to the front passenger side of the car, open the door, and Kelsey and Megan got to punching throws and kicking and whatever. Then he says that gunshots were fired, and he felt that the flash of the gun went off closest to Kelsey, but he could not be absolutely sure about that. And then there's another time where he says that he observed two males and a female beating up on one female, and it looked to be a very severe beating. And then at another point, we have police saying that there was also a fight that went down between Kelsey and Tory. So this brings us to another thing that was mentioned during opening arguments today, where we heard something else that we had never heard before. So let's go ahead and get into that. So this comes from No Jumper on Twitter, who was reporting details of the trial today. He says that when Tory went to check on Megan after the shooting, Kelsey tried to stop him, and he punched her and pulled her to the ground by her hair, and then demanded that both get back in the car, which they did. Now, this is what he claims the prosecution is arguing. Now, I find this very interesting because I did read the court transcripts from an earlier hearing that they had, and one of the detectives was asked, what did Megan see like right after the shooting, like what happened? And basically Megan said that both Kelsey and Tory came running up to her to see if she was okay. Tory was very apologetic. He was even in shock that he even shot her. And then basically she was just asked to get back in the car, and she did. At no time did she ever mention that Kelsey was punched, dragged down by her hair, that anything happened between her and Tory, nor have we ever heard this from Tory or Kelsey, and Kelsey hasn't said much of anything at all, but still. But in these court transcripts, there was a time where they asked, that did Megan see anything happen between Kelsey and Tory? And all she said was that no, they just bumped into each other, but that was it. She never says anything about Kelsey being hit or dragged down by her hair. So I have absolutely no clue where this story is coming from, but Kelsey will have to be the one to say if this is true or not. So the prosecutors are going to try to run the theory that Kelsey was the one who possibly harmed Megan. And they may actually be able to have a good case for that, being that, first of all, they don't have no DNA evidence on the gun to prove whose gun it was. The gun was unregistered. So again, they don't know whose gun it was. 3, Kelsey and Tory both have gunshot residue on their hands. 4, we have Tory on video, right, like during the arrest, claiming that he was just trying to protect his girl. And we have witnesses talking about there was a whole fight going down between these two before these shots were fired, and a witness claiming that they think that the flash went off closest to Kelsey. So combine all of those things together, and it definitely seems like Kelsey and Megan got to fighting. Kelsey probably tried to maybe shoot Megan. Tory tried to intervene, and this is the reason why he also had gunshot residue on his hands, and this is how the situation went down. So they would have a very good case against Kelsey for that. Because what we also don't have is we don't have any witnesses actually claiming that Tory stood up from the back of the truck and fired shots at Megan. We don't have any witnesses or Ring doorbell video hearing Tory say dance before he shot her at all. But what we do have is that alleged text from Kelsey to the security guard saying that Tory shot Meg. Now, Gayle King was the first who exposed this text message during that interview with Megan. And it says that it was sent July 12th, 2020, the day of the shooting, 7:27 a.m., which would be almost 3 hours after the shooting occurred, not the 5 minutes right after the shooting that the prosecution is alleging now. If that was the case, it should have been sent around 4 or something, as that's when the police got the call about shots being fired, not at 7:20 a.m. So this text needs an explanation. Okay, guys, so that's all I really got from today. If there's anything more that comes out, I'll come back and update, but here's my thoughts for now. This is not looking too good for Megan. There has just been way too many lies involved and omissions on her part that don't make this an easy case of she said he did it and that's it. Had she said that from the very beginning, maybe, but she didn't. So here we are. Megan lied about being shot. She said it was glass. She lied about being intimate with Tory, lied about him being on probation, lied about him begging them not to say anything during the jail call, omitted details regarding any arguing and fighting, and basically made it seem like all of those rumors were lies when they were brought up as well. Nobody ever heard Dance Be Dance, nor saw Tory shoot her. The text from Kelsey is flawed if someone cannot explain that time difference to me. The bullets are missing from evidence. Police did a shoddy investigation job and even omitted certain things from their report that didn't make Tory look guilty. Witnesses are basically saying Kelsey did it and it was due to the fighting between both her and Megan. There's residue on her hands. She's been the most silent. Her and Megan did fall out right after this night and both tried to expose each other in songs. Kelsey never says Tory didn't do it, but she also claimed that she didn't. And she also questioned whether or not Megan even knew who shot her, given the possibility that it might not have been Tory and Megan had no clue what happened to her. And on top of all of this, they never even tested the gun for Kelsey's DNA. So with that said, Kelsey is looking way more guilty than Tory. Megan is not a good witness to take the stand. There is way too many holes in her story, and there is no evidence of anything. All we have is a bunch of he say, she say still. And what Kelsey says should hopefully fill in all these little holes regarding this case. The only thing so far that makes Tory look guilty to me is the security guard not speaking up for him. It bothers me that he has a witness who he hired to work for him who hasn't said a thing on his behalf besides he didn't hear anything go down. I am not saying that the security guard would have proved Tory's innocence, but it would have looked better for Tory if he did have someone else who was there also saying that he didn't do it. But who knows? Maybe all of that will come out later. Outside of that, I can't just take Megan's word from her because at this point, her words mean jack. And I don't know what to believe when it comes to her. And that's on Megan herself, because I'm going to say this one last time. Megan, you started off with a lie, and apparently you've been telling more lies. You tried to protect Tory before protecting yourself while screaming, protect black women all at the same time. We first have to be willing to fend for ourselves before we expect anybody else to. And Megan, you spoke on being shot without naming the shooter when you first spoke on this. And you were well past any fear of police to now be able to speak up, and you didn't. And you also used the George Floyd situation as an example when that case didn't even involve an officer shooting anyone. But hey, I get it, I guess. Now, you have to deal with people doubting you because of you. So all of this protect black women campaigning that's happening needs to stop for you if all you're going to do is protect yourself using lies and omissions. And that's really all I have to say about that. So as you all know, the trial will be continuing on the rest of the week. There will be more testimony that we will be hearing, and I will definitely be keeping up with all of it, and I will continue to do videos updating you all and just talking to you all about what's going down and giving my thoughts on it all. So I appreciate all of those who tuned into this video. I want to send a special shout out to all of those who stayed around until the end of the video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.